like in this being like a big time New York stage play or something?
No.
To the extent of like, well, where did all like the rewrites and stuff come from? Was this like
trying to figure out the end?
Okay.
And then we started getting a few cooks in the kitchen, and which I invited, but just didn't go well.
I mean, you don't necessarily like place that blame on yourself, though, right?
Yeah. I mean, I wrote it in many ways. I had to direct a lot of things. I raised the money for it. I ended up being in it, and there were times when the lead actress was like, I can't. I'm not sure I can like do that scene when you just improvise. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I wish I had an answer for you, but
how short notice did the guy quit, though? I mean, there's nothing to be done.
Like
this does not sound like
extenuating circumstances.
This does not sound like that could be your fault at all. Like the idea that you were like, listen, even though I had to randomly take over the lead role, I couldn't do it immediately. Doesn't sound like your fault.
Yeah, no.
Sounds a lot like that guy's fault.
I understand like taking it on to yourself too, but like.
It's because I've done enough performance where I felt like I should be able to handle this.
Yeah.
And I could not. I had, and to my defense, I had 4 days to learn the lines. And
that's crazy.
He had a shit ton of lines. and several monologues. And,
yeah, I mean, 4 days. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. It doesn't sound like it was really your fault.
Actors do it all the time.
Yeah, but you weren't an actor, and you didn't sign up as an actor, and you weren't in the mindset. I truly believe...
We lost 2 leads. I just remembered.
I mean...
What?
One person dropped out the week before, and then I got this other guy, which is another reason why I kind of blame myself. I pulled an improviser who just... He was like... We were trying to do read-throughs, and I'm not shitting you. He was like... And he was like... Hi, and like he did like Cowboys on the Moon, and he just
too many bits.
Oh, so many bits, and everyone was like, and then the director was finally like, hey, we got to start getting realistic here. You're gonna have to suit up.
Yeah, you know the interesting thing though is that the world that is. Like plays and theater is very different than the comedy world.
Very, very different.
Like anytime I talk to somebody who is in the comedy world who's like, yeah, I think I might do some plays. I'm like, okay, but take it super seriously because they do, and you can't disrespect them or you'll never be able to play in their games. Like you can't just swing in there and be all like, what's up? Totally cool. I'm living in the moment. How's it going? No.
I tried that.
No. Yeah, it's really different. The world. I mean, I totally understand. I came from a theater plays background as well, but I don't know. The idea of going from playwright to actor sounds insane in that world. I mean, that's so wild. So I wouldn't put it all on yourself. Is there any to flip it a little? Is there any like lesson of that you take that you now use because you've produced a lot since then? So, like, are there any things that you took from that experience that, like, have made your later productions better?
Yeah, one thing that first of all, choosing the people very, very, have high standards.
Yeah.
For people as opposed to performers. And I have proven that to myself over and over since then. I think that I'm just now at this point, I just want to be director. I don't like handing things over to people anymore. That being said, there are definitely people I would hand things over to, for sure. But for now, I don't do props anymore. I just can't do props. I love committing to the moment and doing insanely like detailed object work. because props are, every time I have that ping of paranoia when, did I grab the belt?
Yeah.
Because the belt comes off.
Yeah.
And, and you don't have to do that if you just commit to the object work. And people, it's been 3 years now, I just won't do props. Unless it's like a gun. I just did Frontera Fest, and they pulled guns out, and those were the only props. But,
well, that's kind of like, that also assists the audience in, like, getting there with you as well. I think, like, that, because you were talking about the value of an audience kind of discovering something as the characters do, I think, like, audiences will pay more attention if they have to, if they have to do any of the mental work on stage.
Yeah, totally.
So I totally get the value of, like, not making it super easy for them to, like, have to, or to be able to understand what's going on stage unless they are entirely engaged. So, yeah, I get that. And also, Amy has always done, like, all the prop work and carrying for every, like, sketch show that the neighborhood has done, and it's, like, I've had to do other shows, and it's, like, where I would have to, like, make a prop and bring it, and I've forgotten it and wanted to just throw myself in the lake, just wanted to die over it. And
I've recently wanted to switch over to no props just because we a week ago I took the neighborhood to the Hideout when let's say shit hit the fan. I wasn't sure what was going on, so I immediately was like, I need to find a new space. This show matters to me. It's going to happen. And it's just a very different space. And they have their, like, backstage nooks and crannies are just different. So I was like, yeah, when we do the show again, because we're doing it again in March, it's like, yeah, we're doing it with much fewer props because the idea of trying to stash them and figure it out was like, wait, where is the next thing? So I was like, no, we don't need props to make jokes.
But yes, okay. But the more I get to know you, the more I feel like you're a person who can lay out a plot and execute it. That is its own type of organizational, like, skill that you have. Mm-hmm. I feel like maybe you don't necessarily. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
Do you not stress out about having props in the right place?
Oh, I mean, sure. I try my best to insist that jokes don't rely on them because, I've had failures constantly.
Not that.
I've had years of failures.
What about, like, the organizational anxiety before a show? Do you have that about props? Or?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I guess. I have so many of them that I don't. I organize early on what we need and how much of it I have to bring in, and then the rest of it I go, all right, if you want that prop, get it.
Yeah.
And if you want me to buy it, give me the money, because I don't have money.
And that also comes, like, with the way the neighborhood is set up, like, it's several different writers, so, like, you're kind of put into the position of, like, hey, if you feel like that prop is super necessary, then
you gotta do it.
Get it yourself.
Yeah,
totally. I mean, and I've had people who have written really elaborate prop scenes, and then they provide everything, so
yeah, like, I've written.
Hey, if you're going to do it, go for it. I just think that props require a lot in order to make them worth it. Like, about a year ago, Nathaniel and Zach did True West at the theater.
I saw it.
Awesome. It was so essential to have the props for that show. That show was enormously reliant on having that physical space look the way that it did, and the physical space of the room changed as the play changed. It was like an example of it. Now, in that case, I was so for the realism of it. We worked so hard to put that in and out, to take it in and out of that space every night, even when we rehearsed, because we rehearsed for 2 weeks every day during the day. So we would put the whole thing in, and then we would rehearse, and then by like 4, we had to start clearing it out so that by 6, when people showed up for classes and shows, our stuff wasn't everywhere, right? But it was so necessary because it was like, it was deeply connected to all of it. Even, I was in the show for 5 minutes total. I'm being generous. 2.5 minutes.
I remember very clearly
But I felt strongly about the props, even what I brought in. Like, I was like, oh, no, I need two bags. And they're like, are you sure? And I was like, I really do. I feel it. And it made me, in the moment, it made it better for me. You know what I mean? So it was like, yeah, sometimes props really mean something. And I'm neurotic. I started, the reason why I'm okay with that, lists of props and stuff, is that when I started doing plays, when I got a theater degree and then I got my first job, it was as a stage manager. Oh. So I was a stage manager for 5 years.
Thank you.
5 years after graduating from college, I worked as a professional stage manager. So that was my job.
The angels of theater.
Truly.
Like
100%. And I couldn't be an angel my whole life. Which is why I stopped. I could be a rich angel right now, but I'm not. Because I was like, I need to do other stuff. I love poverty. No, I just really, I wanted to be artistic. I wanted to write. I wanted to perform, But I think each one of them are different. So right now you're focusing, you said, on directing. Have you written recently? Have you been still continuously writing?
Now, God, when you have the release of, like, not having all that shit, right? So I walked out of there, grad school, with shit I should be working on for the next 10 years. I mean, I have enough now where I know what's been tested, what's not good, what excited me the most. So I wanted to do that. That was my goal. Then I got out, and I've just been, like, I write a one-act play every time for Frontera Fest. That's just a really great once-a-year thing, and it's made writing so pleasant. Me and my buddy wrote a full-length play for the Long Fringe Frontera Fest, and that was fun. But as far as, like, directing goes, it's kind of secondary, other than the fact that my biggest thing right now, I just love teaching. I just like teaching.
Yeah.
The itch of writing and performing comes up. Writing is a little stronger for me than performing. So it is very fun, and I loved, like, this last process with Ariel, Virgil, and Catherine. And so I had the bones of a play, and I knew, like, the moment that I wanted to hit in it. And then I had maybe 15 pages, and then we just got together for, right, I think it was like a month, a little over a month. And I let them improvise. I pushed it where I wanted it to go, and I directed very heavily on the improv. But those two muscles are coming together in the most pleasant way for me. Like, directing improv, writing, and making sure that everybody in the room has ownership. It was amazing. The play was fantastic in Frontera Fest, but it was like 3 minutes too long, and they cut us off, and it was one of the worst experiences I've ever had.
Oh, wow. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That's hard. Yeah, they have a hard out with those things.
And
those festivals. They run you tight.
They have to. You know,
yeah.
They do 80 plays in like 5 weeks. So it's
right?
Like,
yeah.
People are traveling with their pickup truck full of props, and
another reason not to have props.
And they show up, and and it's like, I can't imagine what you deal with. So I do understand that. But she didn't have to walk up to me in the audience, show me her phone, and go.
For the listeners out there, he just ran his thumb across his neck.
Ooh.
I love Christy to death. Do you know Christy Moore?
No.
She runs Frontera Fest. She does